Welcome to Yaka Digital Network videos. Today, we are looking at contemporary Ugandan art. For an S4 student, mastering this subject means shifting your focus away from a strict set of rules about decoration and looking instead at how artists use creativity to engage with the society around them. When we first study art, we naturally lean toward the aesthetic bias. We assume the goal of an artwork is to display technical skill and create something beautiful. We look at a drawing and ask, what is it? And is it drawn well? Contemporary Ugandan artists take a different approach. They prioritize the idea or the concept over the physical craft. Instead of asking, what is it? This conceptual shift asks, why is this happening? The artwork becomes a tool to spark dialogue about governance, human rights, and the complexities of modern life. The artist's role shifts from a maker of objects into a cultural commentator, someone whose work documents the specific social shifts and urban developments happening in the city right now. To see how this works in practice, we have to step outside the classroom and look at the sensory geography of the city. The first step in creating a conceptual piece is simply observing your local environment to find a social or political tension. Look closely at this Kampala street. Notice the friction between the organic, chaotic reality of everyday transport on the ground and the pristine commercial billboard looming right above it. That contrast between rapid high-tech urbanization and existing traditional infrastructure is a modern tension. Once you spot that friction, you can follow a clear four-step process for your own work. First, observe your environment. Next, identify a specific tension. Then, choose a medium that relates to that issue. And finally, arrange it to create a metaphor. If you try to skip to the end and start making things without first identifying a real, observable tension in society, your artwork will lack a clear message. One powerful way Ugandan artists express these tensions is through hybridity. They take ancestral traditions and adapt them for modern dialogue. For example, bark cloth, which has deep ceremonial roots, is now regularly repurposed into high-fashion protest art. Urban artists also rely heavily on upcycling. By reclaiming industrial waste like electronic parts, scrap metal, or discarded plastics, they turn the debris of rapid development into meaningful sculptures. The material itself becomes a literal representation of environmental degradation. Let's test this with an active recall exercise. Pause the video and examine this market scene. Where do you see a modern tension? Notice the visual friction between the rigid, imported mannequins standing in uniform rows above and the fluid, chaotic movement of local vendors below. What non-traditional material would you choose to represent this specific clash? In contemporary art, selecting the material is a deliberate act of meaning. By using the debris of development to build the work, the artist ensures the message is embedded in the physical medium itself. Let's say your identified problem is plastic waste. A traditional approach might be to simply draw a picture of a trash can. A contemporary approach transforms the literal problem into a metaphorical installation, like this physical map of Kampala made entirely out of discarded plastic bottle caps. To connect that physical material back to your initial social commentary, you write an artist statement. This is the bridge between what the viewer sees and what you want them to understand. You can structure it using a simple formula. Using our plastic cap map, the formula looks like this. I used discarded plastic bottle caps to map the city of Kampala, highlighting how environmental waste suffocates urban growth. To succeed in an S4 contemporary art exam, these three elements, tension, metaphor, and the statement, must work together to prove you understand the why behind the work. Art gives you the tools to document the reality of your community and speak back to power. You can watch more videos on this and other topics at Yaka Digital Network.